Now, for those who don't know, Baldock, actually spelt with an X. If you search him up on Twitter, his name is Liam, and he has a fantastic blog called cowshedmk.wordpress.com. You must check it out. Talk Dons also is his Instagram account. And, I've been looking at a couple of his things, and one of the things that obviously have been discussed is the managerial appointment. He essentially broke the news in regards to Steve Cotterill actually being at the game against Bristol Rovers. So I think it's quite possible, I think we know where this might be going. But he's also, looked at the bookmakers and he's gone through a couple of things a couple of theories that he has as well. So if we just go through them, one of the people that have been mentioned, obviously, like I said, Steve Cotterill, worked with former players in the past, or Kieran Agard, who had his best season as a player under him. Steve Cotterill with bags of Football League experience, and he knows the league inside out, and he can come in, do a job well. I don't know. It just doesn't jump out at me, Steve Cotterill. It just really doesn't. But I don't know. I don't know what You got to give people a chance here. So he's well experienced, Steve Cotterill, and his last job I think was Bristol City. I believe it was Bristol City, but he has got a good amount of experience. And another man who has also been mentioned is head of recruitment for Tottenham Hotspur, Paul Mitchell. He was the head of recruitment at Milton Keynes Dons, and he was there for several years. And according to Pete Winkleman, he'd be welcome back at any time. So he's on the list, as well as Mark Sampson, the England ladies boss, Steve Evans, and Manchester United legend Ryan Giggs. And the thing is, Ryan Giggs, like I said with Steven Gerrard is a voice that will be listened to. It is a voice that will be listened to. He's trying to talk about this club's got to match my ambitions and this, that, and blah, 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 blah. Being Ryan Giggs, just being the player, will only get you so far. I think in terms of being a manager, I think your personality will count more than your playing career. And he doesn't necessarily have the best reputation. Our whole team have been a bit nervous. They've been more nervous than Ryan Giggs was when his brother came home early, to be honest. I do believe that Ryan Giggs would be a decent appointment. I do. The longer he sits around and waits because I'm Ryan Giggs and wait for this job, he's not really going to do himself any favours. And it is MK Dons, let's be honest. Let's look at the facilities. Let's look at the ground. This isn't exactly, I don't know, Ruston and Diamonds or whatever they're called now. This is... We've got a lot to be proud of. So I did watch the interview with Pete Winkleman. Okay, excellent stuff. I do actually believe him. I do believe him when he says no one loves the club more than him. I do believe in his plans, regardless of whether they're delayed. But it's about doing things right. And I think with football, or just in life in general, I think we've all got to a point where the attention span is just short. How many people do you know that can't even listen to a full song? You go to a nightclub, DJ's play about the first verse and the chorus, and he's going to change the record. You're not going to sit there and listen to a song with a frozen picture. You want to see a bit of movement. This is why I've just got these same clips going over and over again, just so your eyes can be doing something whilst listening to my voice. Otherwise, people are just going to go, I'm tired of this. It's not engaging enough. So I do have the faith in him, especially when it comes down to the training ground and things like that. It has to be to a certain standard. Everything has to be done right. And the last update they gave, I believe, was in the summer, where they said it's the screening process. They're close to a final decision in regards to whether it's going to be approved. I'm not sure if the Dele Alli money is going to be used for that, which apparently it was. But time goes on, bills come in, severance packages have to be paid, and it is what it is. It is what it is. Let's just not turn it into a what's it called, a Fawcett's Farm. Southend United, their new ground that just hasn't existed in however many years. But I think as a club we've got a lot to be proud of, and I think Pete Winkleman, I think people should cut him some slack, and people just need to calm down, to be perfectly honest. They really do. I think it just adds pressure, the fact that there is nobody in charge, and then you lose and lose and lose and lose and lose. I think if Richie Barker, who did say he took a class in teaching, so to be able to get his ideas across properly, and be able to control rooms and teach the players properly, I don't think it's really come in handy so far. clearly he's not the man to take him forward, and there needs to be a fresh voice in there. And with the poor results, it just hasn't helped, and it has put a lot more pressure on the process. But I've trusted his appointments ever since Paul Ince gone to Roberto Di Matteo, Carl Robinson, whoever. And I think Pete Winkleman's been an asset. He's been brilliant. He's been absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And to be honest, I'm enjoying him being chairman more than he will ever enjoy that double decker. And there was pure love in his eyes there. Pure love in his eyes. So hopefully something is sorted out. As I'm watching the interview, and Anthony, I believe his name is, who's doing the interviews. Like, what is he need? Listen, get rid of him and give me a job, because this is a joke. I'm not being funny. He's got nothing to do with the results on the pitch. But he'd sit there. Pete Winkleman would sit there and say, the Steven Gerrard news broke and this, that, and it was embarrassing and blah, 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 blah. And then Anthony's basically like, oh, so what do you think about Steven Gerrard? He would ask him questions that he has already just answered, before the interviewer even bloody comes with the next question. It's like it's already been covered. Skip over the question. It's just, it's like if you work at somewhere, and you're selling products, you've got a script, but just use a bit of imagination, Depending on the situation, you might not have to use the script, He's answered your questions already. Relax. Just listen more, Listen. It's not just, oh, let me just sit here and wait to get my questions out as quickly as I can. No, mate. Do a proper job. So if you get a manager, we need a new interviewer as well. Seriously. That's really affecting things over there at MK. Like, seriously. But yeah, Pete Winkleman, went on to him, just being a ledge, and just saying I wasn't really convinced, but I understand what he's saying and thought process behind it. It's very different as fans, and some people would sit there and say, oh, well, they just played rubbish. Oh, they ain't got no heart, and they ain't this and they ain't that, and they blah 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 whatever. Come on. So some of the things is we need to be winning second balls. Some people won't even mention that because their thinking doesn't go that deep. It's just, oh, you played rubbish, that's it, that's the end of it. Where's the heart, where's the soul? And I've got a video which I'm going to do. It's not necessarily on MK, it's on El Haj Youth, where I'm going to actually delve into that side of things, which I think football fans need to understand. But I do try to keep my videos as short as I can and get all my points across. I do believe in Pete Winkleman. He said he's got 3 managers in mind who are actually on the list of managers. It's like they've already got a list of managers set in case there is a departure. So they already have their shortlist, just like they do with players. And these guys approached them, and they didn't even have to really ring them up and say what's up. So they've had their eye on them for a long time. They've had some candidates coming forward, and we normally do a complete madness when it comes to the managers. So I just trust him, but I can't sit around and guess who's this and who's that and who's whatever, because it could be a 26-year-old from Bermuda for all we know as MK Dons fans. We get anybody and everybody. They always give coaches a chance, We're like the youth system of coaching. Steve Cotterill, okay, that's a big sign that he's there, but at the same time, I think possibly just so he's prepared, just in case. It's not like he's got really much else to do at this moment in time. I don't really know his personal life, but in terms of football, and if he's looking for a job, he wants to be as prepared as he can. He's going to watch the game. So if he does get the call and they say, look, Steve, we want you to take over, he's like, okay, cool, I've already seen this game. I know what I can sort out and what I need to change. So yeah, FM Republic, bye.